Another aspect to this is the concept of dharma. It's a concept which we discussed when we were talking about truth and using money in a proper way, using our resources and money in a proper way. And that is that finding my role in life. Many people sacrifice what they love and sacrifice their true mission in incarnating from financial insecurity or from a desire to satisfy other people's perceptions of what is important or what is accepted by society or what is respected by society. So they're living all of their lives either to obtain some kind of illusion of security or some kind of illusion of social acceptance. And they're not doing with their lives what they incarnated to do. This does not mean, however, that someone might not have incarnated to be very affluent or to do something which is very much respected by society. It's not all jobs have to be done. Someone has to be the prime minister, and someone has to be the doctor, and someone has to be the lawyer. But if I'm being that because I think that I am more worthy or more accepted or more secure, but what I really would love to do is something else, then I'm wasting my life. And I won't find happiness. I may find success, I may find acceptance, I may find wealth, but I won't find happiness. So meditation is a process which allows us to become aware of what is important for us and what we have been born to do with our lives. This is very important. And so when someone is in touch with what they love, then they do it with love. They may be paid for it because they have to live, but when anyone does anything with love, it's much more effective. It's much more beautiful. It's much more beautifying to the environment and to life. When someone is when a doctor is a doctor because he loves to be a doctor. When a politician is a politician because he loves to be a politician, he feels that this is his life purpose, that he is there to create the perfect society. Or a doctor is there to protect people's health. And I'm not doing this for power or for money. Then it becomes a ritual, it becomes a love offering to society, you see. So this is meditation can bring a person into this awareness. And then of course he becomes a much more useful and beneficial member of society. Another problem with society, with the members of society, is a lack of self-confidence. We have been programmed to doubt ourselves. This is our parents in trying to help us, teachers in trying to help us, frequently pointed out our weaknesses, pointed out our mistakes, and making a mistake was a painful experience. Making a mistake is wrong. You are not worthy if you make a mistake. So when we experienced this in life, we began to doubt our ability and to doubt our self-worth. And this fear that we're not able then prevents us from the rest of our life from manifesting our unlimited inner potential. Whether that be a potential physically to do things, or mentally to do things, or emotionally, or spiritually, whatever potential that may be. Fear is the greatest obstacle towards self-actualization. And the fear of failure, or the fear of being criticized, the fear of being being ridiculous in the eyes of other people, or also the fear of economic insecurity, all of these fears cause us to live a very superficial life, doing what we already know, not trying anything new in our lives. And that limits our growth process. So that if more people were meditating, they would have more self-confidence, there would be more productivity, and they would become much more useful and productive and creative members of society. And all of society would be benefited from this. I think all people fear, and all people fear, especially when they're going to do something new, which they haven't done before. The difference is that some people stop when they fear, and others continue even though they fear. This is the only real difference between people. We all fear when we're going to do something for the first time. We don't know if we're going to do it right. The thing is not to let it stop us. Say, okay, I may not do it right, but I'm going to do it, and gradually, doing it wrong 100 times, I'll get it right. I mean, this is how we grow, by making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. So self-confidence is an important aspect for the human being and for society. Another major problem of society today is the lack of morals. This is created basically by fear, and fear is created by ignorance. We're going to discuss this when we get into the philosophy course. That our ignorance of our true spiritual nature, of what we really are, causes us to identify exclusively with our bodies and our minds. And because our bodies and our minds are vulnerable, they are vulnerable to pain and vulnerable to death, vulnerable to being hurt physically or emotionally, then I get into a whole set of defense mechanisms. So my ignorance creates a false attachment, my false attachment creates fear, and my fear causes me to attach myself to various persons and situations, and to say, I have to protect my money. I have to protect these things. These are mine. And so I get into these defensive mechanisms. When I get into those, then I can lie, then I can cheat, then I can ignore other people, because I am here to protect myself. I have to protect myself and these 5 persons who are my 5 family members. And what happens to the rest of the society doesn't matter to me, because I am living in these defense mechanisms, and I am separating myself from the whole. Now this is like some of the cells in my body saying, well, we're going to start accumulating oxygen, and we're going to start accumulating hormones, and we're not going to let any other cells around us have oxygen or hormones. You can see what's going to happen to the body. So the same thing has happened to society. Some cells have accumulated, other cells don't have. The cells that don't have are very unhappy, perhaps even dying. 40,000 children a day die because there's a lack. That's a day, not a year or a month, a day. 40,000. And those who have too much have become so soft that they also are losing their spiritual process, their spiritual evolution, or they become so attached to what they have. You see? So